Start doing mates, but I was a footballer.
Okay.
But because of something, so I dropped. So I was doing mates for the main time, driver mates.
Okay, but presently, as we speak, what do you do for a living?
Nothing. I just did home.
So you're unemployed?
Yes. I was a footballer, but they said I was intersex, so I can't compete with the women side.
Who told you that?
They called me for the national team, so they dropped me because of I was intersex.
What's your name?
Ativor Holali.
Do you feel sick?
No, sometimes I feel sad.
Okay, so you feel sad.
Yeah.
Why do you feel sad?
Because I'm different from others.
When a baby is born, there's a common question. Is it a boy or a girl? But whoever wonders, what if it's neither? Holali just wants to play ball. She considers herself a woman. However, the stakeholders of football do not think so. And so in 2019, when her big break came, she lost her chance to play for the Black Queens after a medical exam came back unfavorable. She was declared intersex.
Did you know about this before the medical exam?
Yeah, I know. I was treating, even my national players, like my team players or my team managers, coaches, even don't know anything about it. So I was treating it before they call me for the national team. Because if I don't go to the national team, my director will say, oh, or my coaches will be saying, oh, I do you something, or I help you to go to national team, but you don't go. So I want to go. I was treating Nuong Faalong before they called me for the national team. It was 2017 and I started before they called me for the 2019. So I went and they checked and they dropped me because of I was intersex. At home, I don't bath with anyone. So I know it is normal. So the time I went to Coerced Sports Academy and I bathed with one lady and I found out, no, mine is different from there.
But before that, your mother or father didn't talk to you about it?
From the day I saw that, I went home and I asked them, why this? And I show my mother, why? And I called my junior sister and I said, why mine is different from her?
The way she was performing at the league, that was the NC tournament. Yeah, she was performing creditably there. So she was called to, I think that time, Black Queen, on a physical examination.
Okay, so they did a physical examination also?
That was what happened.
Oh.
And then saw that, and then they told the coach that this is what is happening to the lady.
Do you report to the GFA or is it, I mean, the doctor is from who? Who assigns the doctor that does all these tests?
It's a GFA team doctor. Overly aggressive. So that they will see the name man. So you do it for ma. Who is your bar? Main cancer. Although or memory, but that the mercy of money man to get in the man. A defense. A bad strengthening the piano or your head. You cut as a so called. Not that you know. The same thing happened. And the doctor looked something and wanted to find out why he was overly aggressive.
In simple language, we can say people who do not conform to the traditional classification of what a male or female will connote. So they look a bit different or atypical. However, in medical language, we usually would prefer disorders of sexual development or differentiation. And under such classification, we put quite a number of groups. That's a spectrum on its own of people with different, or we say atypical presentation of their genital organ. They do not fall within the generally classified male or female patterns. Any variation out of it will fall within this spectrum that we call disorders of sexual differentiation, or other organizations then will prefer terms like intersex.
Intersex people are individuals born with any of several variations in sex characteristics, including chromosomes, gonads, sex hormones, or genitals that, according to the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, do not fit the typical definitions for male or female. Experts say 1.7% of the population worldwide is born with intersex traits. Holali has been advised by some doctors and football agents to undergo surgery in order to qualify to play as a woman. Now, what age was it? How old were you by this time?
Oh, I'm 21.
The time you found out? How
The
old?
time I found out, I was 15 years.
But before that, your mother or father didn't talk to you about it?
Talk to them. By that time, they don't have money. And I don't have anyone, apart from my parents. I don't have anyone. Because my family people, they don't like me like that. So, apart from my father and my mother, I don't have anyone again. It's a lot of problem. I get some, like, madam, she take me as I'm a doctor in Kumasi. So she took me to a conference. For that, the price they said they would take, I told my mother, even my mother was crying because of the amount.
How much did they say they would
It's
take?
almost 500 million.
When you say 500 million, how much? Like 50,000?
Yeah, 50,000.
50,000 Ghana cedis.
Yeah, in New Current.
But it spots enough reason to put a well-functioning human through supposed corrective surgery.
The right guidance is to be able to know what exact problem we're facing. Because if, generally we talk about the biological sex, we talk about the social sex, and then we have what would be like the gender identity. And these are quite different things, and they could mix. So, in as much as we say the biological has been determined, and that's what we see, but when it comes to the gender one, it starts in prenatal life and develops further in the early postnatal period, and then with interaction with society, one consolidates the gender identity. So the right decision here will mean when the person is able to align all these factors on one particular gradient or line. So to do that, then you should understand what makeup you have.
Annette Nagesa, a Ugandan ex-athlete, was faced with a similar situation and she did succumb to surgery. The result, she has never returned to competitive sport at the highest level since.
For me, I can't advise her to go for a start to do surgery on her body because there is no need of changing the body. Yeah. Because now, if she goes for surgery, because I have an experience on that, as I did the same too, for 7 years now, I haven't been competing as they saved immediately. I'll be back in shape of competing in the sport. That's something like killing her talent and killing her dream. I got some complications which they didn't tell me at first that you will get some side effects after this. First of all, I was depressed. I got some complication of getting headache all the time. Yeah, because the body was just coping up in another new life, which was really not nice. Yeah. Really, I can't support her to do that.
She also had to flee Uganda after her surgery as her life was in danger due to intolerance towards LGBTQ+. Most athletes who succumb to surgery end up with complications and lifelong dependence on hormonal therapy.
What we want is that we'll rather make the diagnosis as early as possible. Then we begin to then see as the individual develops further, then we understand the individual's psychological state, the social gender, and if surgery becomes something that will come in to complement, especially around puberty or getting to that area, then that could be considered rather than probably the parents deciding that early enough, because there are quite a number of variations.
Things that happens after the surgery is there is no, you need hormone therapy for a whole life. And often federations or the doctors who are conducting this don't give you that information. For example, Annette wasn't told that she will, even if the surgery is done, still hormone therapy is required for all your life. That was not told. For 7 years, there were no hormone therapy, which can have huge impact on your bone health. So nobody told that in Annette's case. And it's only last year, after talking about it, after coming to Germany, that Annette started the hormone therapy. So, this information is also extremely important, that the surgery is irreversible. It's an irreversible surgery. So you're doing it for sport doesn't mean you can change again later on. So it's irreversible surgery. It has a lot of ill effects. It stops production of estrogen as well in your body, which is so key to your bone health. So you need to replace, hormone replacement is required throughout your life.
The only reason Miss Ativor has considered surgery is her love for soccer.
In case of Holali, I would say that, the fact that she feels that she needs to do a surgery because she wants to compete in sport, and that's what the national camp coach and doctor told her without any specific documentation though. It's just an oral instruction that has been given to her. I think that is unfortunate. Even the FIFA regulations, it doesn't talk about any kind of surgery or anything. If you think about the Athletics Federation, the World Athletics is, current regulations, the DSG regulations, which was what Castro Semenya had challenged. Even that regulations gives different options of medical steps. I am not in support of taking any kind of medical steps, but the fact that Ativor Holali was not even given all the options, she was just told go do a surgery and only then you can compete. That's really not the full information that you are giving her. And you are putting her in that spot where she feels compelled to do a surgery. No one should feel that I need to do a surgery, change my body in a certain way just because I want to compete in sport. I asked Ativor several times that, do you really want to do this surgery? If it was not about sport, if you were allowed to play sport without doing this surgery, would you still do this surgery? She said, no, I won't. So that tells you that she's feeling compelled, forced, coerced to do this surgery. And that is not fair. Sport must accommodate all these athletes because these athletes are born the way they are.
What makes Holali's situation even more isolated is that other intersex persons in the Ghanaian society hide away due to public misunderstanding and stigma. However, there are intersex communities in Ghana that provide support to hundreds of members. Key Watch Ghana is one of such communities where Edem Sean Eje is executive director.
Our first form of support is to provide the voice, provide the space, a safe space to express yourself. Is to provide a listening ear, is to provide that unionism to know that I am not alone. Yes, and also to demystify the whole condition as being a freak or a mistake of nature or a scientific error. Yes, so many persons are in many of the variations and do not understand where they are, why they are so. And many of our community members are chasing surgeries, chasing hormonal treatments and therapies, and they are not having access to all the pictures. So what we do is that we provide our members with the basic information, understanding who they are, where to go for getting the various labs to do to identify which of the conditions you belong to and how to handle your condition and all that. Yes, so that's the support you're doing. The intersex community is being lumped into the whole LGBTIQ community and being tagged as a devilish, evil community. And nobody takes time to understand that there's a biological factor for the development. Many of our community members are chasing surgeries, chasing hormonal treatments and therapies, and they are not having access to all the pictures. So what we do is that we provide our members with the basic information.
Why do you want to do the surgery?
So because of the football, they said if I'm able to do the surgery, I will be able to play the national team. That is the reason why they dropped me from the national.
If you weren't a footballer, would you still do the surgery?
No.
Why?
Because of the football, that's why I wanted to do the surgery. So if I get any job or any opportunity somewhere, I'm okay.
What qualifications do you have? Have you been to school?
No.
Why?
I just complete GHS, SS, because of if I go here, like many people will be saying, hey, you are a guy, you are a lady, you are a guy. So if I'm even going to have some kind saying, hey, I've seen something, so a lot of things. So I can't almost, I can say, senior high school. So I stopped school.
Did you even try to go?
Yeah, I tried. Let me see. I tried. I went to Form 2, SS2 before I stopped.
What school was this?
Oh, my schools were many. Because of that, because of how many interested, they are saying this and this. That's why I stopped school.
When you say people are saying this and this,
people are saying, hey, she's a girl, she is a boy. And I'm so, because even the headmaster too, sometimes, even like I went to some school, like Supercast, Kumasi Anglican. Even the house, mistress over there, even saying that, hey, she's not a girl. So that gave me hopeless to stop the school.
have you ever met anyone who is the same?
No.
Do you have friends who know about this?
Yeah.
What's their reaction?
She always, if I'm sad, she always come to me and give me some hope, advice that will make me happy, small.
Now you're 21. Yeah. Have you ever tried to have a relationship? Have you ever tried to have a lover? How did that go?
No, I never.
Why?
Because I don't feel I'm intersex, so I don't even feel like doing that.
So what do World Athletics regulations say about women in athletics? In April 2011, the International Olympic Committee, IOC, and the International Association of Athletics Federations, IAAF, issued statements following meetings between the two. The IAAF issued a new policy for male-to-female transgender athletes and a second policy on the eligibility of females with hyperandrogenism to compete in women's competition. The 2011 IAAF hyperandrogenism policy stated that these regulations replace the IAAF's previous gender verification policy, and the IAAF has now abandoned all reference to the terminology gender verification and gender policy in its rules. The policy mentioned a three-step process. The first, a physical examination including clinical signs of virilization, which means physical appearance, deepness of voice, body hair, etc., genital characteristics, and the second, a hormone test, principally the androgenic sex steroids, but also possibly other hormones. And the final stage, a full genetic test. An athlete would be considered eligible to compete if her testosterone levels were within the required range, or if she could prove that she has an androgen resistance such that she derives no competitive advantage. a non-exhaustive list of conditions said to cause hyperandrogenism was provided.
It's really a problem with the international body, because what national governing bodies do is kind of follow blindly what the international regulations are saying. But at the same time, what we need to understand here, that nationally every case is treated differently. And when you leave a lot of scope for the national federation or the national doctors to do or intervene, that creates another problem. For the FIFA regulations that we still have existing puts the onus on the national federation, and that leaves scope for further discrimination within different countries. So there is no set rule, and whoever wants to deal with this in whatever way, they do it. I oppose these regulations because I completely believe that these women are born the way they are. They have not cheated, they have not doped. So why are you forcing them to take medical steps to change their body in order to simply compete in sports? That's absolutely unfair.
Most countries apply these rules as they deem fit. The Ghana Football Association did not respond to inquiries on this subject. In a similar situation, Caster Semenya lost her appeal against track and field's rules that put a limit on a female runner's natural testosterone levels.
From Confanochi, I went to Lifestyle Perform Health Clinic. And after that, I went to Roma facility. And they gave me a lot, I take a lot of drugs.
Did they tell you what this treatment was supposed to do?
Yeah.
What was the treatment supposed to do? Now, when he started giving you medication, what did he say you are treating? What were you trying to achieve with the medication?
The doctor said, like, after I take the medicine, I will develop a place and I will get a period.
And he said, how long do you have to take it before that will happen?
Anytime if I go, he asked me, have they started? I said no. So he was continuing giving me. The money he was giving me, I was paying. So I moved from that hospital to another one, the same thing, and I stopped. And I tell my mother that she should stop.
Did you notice any changes when you started taking the medication?
No.
Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Have you ever thought about just accepting yourself the way you are? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Yeah.
Since this interview and through the help of an international organization, Holali has returned to club-level football. She hopes for the day she will be allowed to be part of the national team without having to take any medical steps.